Today I visit with Bryan Batsell of Warrensburgh, Missouri. I'm Rick Jey, and this is Spotlight on the Arts. Welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Rick Jey, and today I visit with, or actually from the studio, doing an outside shot at the moment with Bryan Batsell of Warrensburgh, Missouri. So if you would, please join me in welcoming Bryan Batsell, artist from the local community of Warrensburgh. So it's good to have you with us there, Bryan.
All right, thank you, Rick. It's great to be here.
Well, thank you. Well, this is your first visit with me on Spotlights on the Arts. I hope to have many more. I've been looking forward to interviewing you since the Missouri State Fair a year ago when we met. I think our paintings were next door to each other, shall we say, in the Fine Arts Building there at the State Fair in Sedalia. I may call you Bryan, but
yes,
your first
please.
name. If you can you share a little bit about Bryan Batsell?
Bryan Batsell. I'm from Paris, Missouri. I'm the youngest of three brothers. The farm I grew up on is still in the family, and obviously I've gotten interested in art.
Yes. So you have a lot to share. Entertainer. I guess you write your own music occasionally, guitar man, singer, what have you. So there's a lot more to Bryan Batsell that we're going to pull out here in the next 30 minutes. Well, Bryan, can you share with us actually then how did you become interested becoming a visual artist, I guess?
Okay, becoming a visual artist, this is something that it goes back to when I was 9 years old. I got into rock and roll music, buying records, album covers. That was my first real introduction to art. Paris, small town, there wasn't a lot of art around there.
Yes, I bet. Huh?
And then about 12 or 13, I got into skateboarding. And all of the art associated with all of the skateboards.
Sure.
And I was reading a lot of comic books at the time, so I had all of that was my introduction.
Yes.
When I got to college is when I really started learning a lot more about a lot of different styles of art.
Yes. And then you developed your own. Now, you have an identity to your art. What do you call your art? I think we talked about that.
Yes. As far as labeling my art, I try to think I work in different genres, but it's narrowed down. It's pop surrealism, which started sort of in the 60s, where it was lowbrow art, because it was comic books and skateboard graphics. It wasn't fine art. It was more of storytelling, and then it became from lowbrow to pop surrealism, and so that's what I try to do is tell a story.
As we see on the timeline, as we run a lot of his artwork, you'll see that how he identifies that. And I always encourage artists that I interview not to worry about anyone else's art but their own, because they have their own style, and it comes from the heart, as I always say. So again, you're looking at a little bit different style. The first time we've seen this style, pop realism. So I'm really anxious. When I saw it, became anxious to really get a Bryan behind the camera, and here we are. So that's my idea. There's always a method to my madness, and here we are. So I love this. As you see in front of us, we have a couple pieces that are Brian's favorite. We'll be talking about that, how, and see how that came about on each piece. But well, now how do you continue to be inspired to continue your pathway down the artist trail?
Part of it is still album covers and skateboarding. At 51 years old, I still love music. I still roll around on my skateboard occasionally. But just having friends also making art in different parts of the world, and just looking at art every day.
Yes.
Almost it's I don't want to say it's a compulsion to make art, but it is at the same time.
It is a compulsion. We have a passion. I call it a passion. Compulsion, that's more of a psychological term, but I think passion's hard. But it does become a compulsion.
Yeah.
So I have to agree with that. I have to give in to that.
Yeah.
So great. Now, the skateboarding, I know they're always in, you had to have a certain design on your skateboard at a young age.
Absolutely.
So if you're into skateboarding, and you know, we go worldwide, so a lot of people are going to identify this with this interview and show. So yeah, every skateboarder has to have his design, just like his surfboard. Well, your work speaks well for you, is what I guess I'm arriving at. And being submitting some of it, as I said a moment ago in the timeline. So, well, before we get away from the time, can you give us a little contact information if someone would like worldwide to contact you or what have you, or maybe even a pop surrealism at their cat or dog or a mouse in this case.
Yes. Email would be a good way. It's bryanbatsell@gmail.com. As far as seeing my work, Instagram is the best way, and it's Bryan Batsell Art on Instagram. Also, I use the hashtag Batsell for almost everything.
Good, great. Excellent. So that'd be a good way.
Easily found.
A hashtag for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we must take a break, so make yourself comfortable as we look at a couple special messages. After the break, Bryan will fill us in on his favorite subject matter, more in detail maybe, the materials he used and the special ways maybe of completing a work of art, maybe even some techniques, special techniques that he uses that he'd like to share with you. So stay with us. There's a lot more here on Spotlight on the Arts. Welcome back to Spotlight on the Arts. I continue with my guest, Bryan Batsell, artist from Warrensburgh, Missouri. Well, Bryan, before the break, we shared a lot of information, and so let's continue along those lines of thought and expression. If you would, describe your type of art that we described earlier as pop realism, and how that came about with considering your skills that we see before us.
Yeah, like with the pop surrealism, like I'd said earlier, when I got into music, the album covers, I could hold the art. Specifically, this dates me, Def Leppard's album Pyromania in 1983.
Yes,
I made a painting recently that actually referenced that album cover.
Excellent.
Derek Riggs, if I'm remembering that right, did all the Iron Maiden covers, and that went along with the comic books. And then when I got into skateboarding, every skateboard had a different graphic. Two big companies at the time, BC Johnson was doing the artwork for Powell Peralta, and Jimbo Phillips was doing the artwork for Santa Cruz.
I see.
My brother had Powell Peralta, I had Santa Cruz skateboard, so I kind of got to see all of this stuff.
Yes.
And
If you didn't know the skateboarder, you you could recognize him by his art when you
Yes.
hit the skateboard area.
Yes. And then from that, Thrasher magazine, the skateboard magazine, would have art and music articles. There was an artist,
remember that.
Robert Williams, who later founded Juxtapose magazine, which when that came out, I was super excited in the 90s. This is
yes.
my thing. And I was in college at the time, learning painting one style, and I did learn a lot in college, but it wasn't the style I was going for,
I see.
if that makes sense. I learned quite a bit, but it just the subject matter, I think, is what the main difference was. I tend to go with subject matter that is a vision in my head. This has to come out. That's what I make.
Now, again, he's given you his email address worldwide, and things can be shipped. Do you want a skateboard? Bryan does it, whatever. Or your album cover. That's why I'm bringing this up.
Yes.
He's going to give some thought to it and pick you apart and come up with that. So that is optional, isn't it?
Yes, I have actually made a few one-off skateboards that I've had printed up. I have worked on a few album covers for friends,
Yes.
T-shirts, designs for other friends' bands,
Now,
that sort of thing.
I understand from a source, little birdie told me you might be working on one for a band in Springfield, Missouri.
Yes, there's a band called Define Lines that I'm working on a cover for them right now.
So we'll be looking for that, and when Fine Line releases that album, great, something
Yes.
to look for. They'll
Yes.
search Fine Line out of Springfield, Missouri.
Yes.
I have seen their advertising, should we call it, or promo. I believe it's on Instagram.
Yes,
Yes,
they have some
I
out
just
there.
ran into
Yep.
it just last week or so. Well, you spoke earlier being inspired by different mentors of artists. Would you please share with the viewers how each one of those contribute to your learning process and inspiration? Was there something that stood out?
So many things, and I know everyone says that. There's
The theme, maybe, that you recognized?
humor.
Humor.
I think it's may be one of my biggest, what I try to put in all of my work is humor. Whether it's,
Exactly, that's where I was going to go, because
What-
we're going to be talking about these
Okay.
favorites. And so that, he hit the nail on the
Yep.
head again, folks. It's definitely about humor. Well, let's see. Is there a process now, getting into the artist with the brush, is there a process of completing a project? Do you take photos? Do you draw it out? Do you have a drawing beforehand? What have you?
there is a process. It's a kind of a messy one for myself, which
I
is
see.
a little bit different than sometimes. Yes, I do sketch out the idea. Mostly, I will pick out the main character, and I'm trying to tell a story with my work. I will pick out the main character, put that character down, paint it, then figure out
And then build around
the
it.
environment.
An environment. Oh, so
Yeah.
you don't do the back end painting at first. You do the
Right.
main focal point, as we call
Yeah.
it,
So-
or your character of humor.
So it's
Super. Well, Bryan, let's go now. Let's go to your favorite pieces and talk about these two favorite pieces. I have this cat looking at me. I seen the eyes do follow you, and this mouse. I think the cat. It's a cat and a mouse game. It's almost
Yes.
like Tom and Jerry.
Well, I'll talk about this one first. It's called Scarcity.
Scarcity.
And of course, the humor is there. Anyone who owns a cat knows that look. There's an empty
Yes.
food bowl. Where is my food at? And I was trying to convey that it's time. It's time to feed me. You know. It's,
Yes.
now that one in some of my work definitely has alternate meanings to them. This piece is humorous to begin with, but part of what I'm trying to convey with this one is if you replace the cat, say, with a child.
Yes.
And hunger, it's a...
Hunger. And the empty dish. No food in the dish.
Yes. So that's more of the, I don't want to say the darker side, but more of a... I want people to think when they're looking at my work, and it doesn't always go that far. Sometimes it's just humorous, just
yes.
to be humorous.
And he kind of says, like, if you don't feed me, I'm going to do one of those crazy...
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
Now, this mouse over here, let's talk about the mouse. It's on what we used to call a hopscotch.
Yes, that one.
Which people don't even know about some places.
That is...
the mouse is on a hopscotch workup.
Yep, I did several pieces with the blind mice. And so that was, I have one flying a paper airplane, I have this one doing hopscotch. And so it's just in an alleyway. And of course all the peeping Toms, all the cats are watching him. So I've given you...
In the background.
What, this is one of those I like to give the middle part of the story.
So sometimes we do walk blindly, but somehow we still stay on the track.
We still stay on the track. And this is...
Excellent.
Like with some of these, this one in particular, the storytelling, it's the middle. So it's up to the viewer to decide what the beginning was and what the outcome is.
So you as a viewer have to make up your own story.
So you have
and it may identify with some part of your life, what have you. Correct?
Yes.
Excellent. Now that is great. Well, I am going to invite you to my Call for Nature show in 2025 at the Greenwich Conservation Nature Center in Jefferson City. If you'll accept my invitation, I'm sure we can find nature in one of your humorous paintings. So thank you very much. I'll be in touch about that. Do you have any other exhibit venues currently or coming up in the future?
Right now I have two pieces at the UCM Gallery for the month of October. It's part of the alumni show, which is running at the same time as the faculty show. I was in there yesterday and it's a fantastic show. I have that.
And now what is the UCM?
University of Central Missouri.
That's here in Warrensburgh.
And that's here in Warrensburgh. That is, I think I missed it earlier, I graduated from there. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts from there. So
alumni.
So yes. So, and I am currently enrolled, but I haven't signed up for classes. I will be auditing some classes, some art classes next semester.
Oh, excellent.
And beyond that, I'm also working on this album cover for the Fine Lines. I have an art book that I'm in the middle of. I've done the illustrations. My friend who's a writer is doing the story, and he also does print work, and we're going to be printing a small batch of books.
Now that's a UCM in Warrensburgh, Missouri, which I've interviewed. Jamie Pratt, I believe is her name, is the director. So if you go back into the archives there, Spotlight on the Arts, Rick Jey Presents, you'll see the interview with Jamie. And there's some shows that been involved in that you'll see also other footage. So you can identify with UCM, a great university here in the city of Warrensburgh, Missouri. Well, Bryan, we're about out of time. So do you have any closing words you'd like to pass on to the viewers, maybe a personal message for those beginning artists or for the art community or someone that's kind of stuck in the middle and don't really know where to go next with their brush?
I do. I would say, as far as my life has gone, if you have an idea, make it. It will be either It won't be good or bad necessarily, but always make it you will find an audience for what you're doing.
Yes. Don't compare yourself as to anyone else. You'll have an audience. We go worldwide on GMN Plus, and so who knows? Someone's going to fall in love with that painting.
Hey, I'd like to show you a little bit of my studio here. I have worked on the wall that I've purchased, and also some of mine that are just recently finished. I'm working on these two pieces currently. One is tentatively titled I Am Want for Nothing, which is the cat walking away from tuna boxes. This optical illusion one, which has become a problem to paint, but it's coming along nicely. I do have my guitars in here so that I switch back and forth. Hey, I just want to play guitar for a while, and I will do that. Now, I'd like to show you a little bit of some of the artwork that I have collected. I'd like to show you some of the work that I've commissioned. I have commissions made of my cat Kiki, and also our dog Ellie here. We have Jeff German and Tyler Wolf and Angie Birdmeier's work up here. And this is the first part of my collection. Well, here's another part of my collection. I have several artists here. Some I went to school with and some I did not. I have Scott Greenwald, Jeff German, Damon Freed, Christian Sims, Anthony Osgang, Amanda Brown, Chad Bowman, Justin Kirby. I think that may be everyone that's on this wall here. Well,
Mr. Batsell, I want to thank you once again for contributing to Spotlight on the Arts. It's really been inspiring to visit with you, a lot of laughter and fun times from your personality and also showing in your paintings. So it's been an educational experience for me, and I hope for everyone else. So Bryan, thank you once again.
All right, thank you, Rick.
Okay, very good, very good. Well, that wraps up another look at an inspiring artist here on Spotlight on the Arts. I want to thank the viewers for watching and continue watching. So I want everyone to take care and stay healthy. Don't forget to tune in and give a little response if you can to the streaming network and the show. You'll see a lot of different types of artists on the show. So Rick Jey saying, see you next time. The paintings of Douglas Freed exist between representation and abstraction in a realm that few other painters can really call their own. For over 20 years, Freed painted entirely abstractly, but over time he began to see references of landscapes in his abstractions. Gradually, Freed began to incorporate aspects of the landscape, such as times of day and light, in a depict or triptych painted form. Most recently, the multi-panel paintings, as you'll see throughout the program, have transitioned into a single canvas as Fried continues to explore the transcendence of nature through a synthesis of visual experience. The passage of time, light, color, and atmosphere. Fried's paintings continue to evolve in his search for an abstract means to embrace that ambiguity of the physical and spiritual experience of light and its power to foster a more intense life of the spirit through profound emotional experience of form, color, and composition. Well, welcome. So please share a little bit about Ron Emig. If you would look at the camera and talk to our viewers out there worldwide and give them a little bit of a picture.
I was born and raised in St. Louis, but lived in this area since '86. Have 2 children and 2 grandchildren. And I've been involved with art all my life, basically, since I could hold a pencil.
Oh, excellent.
Always been drawing horses and cowboys, and that's what I do today.
Well, you know, he was with us last November, the 10th of 2020, right in the middle of that old COVID thing going on, as we could call it. And you spoke of a project that you were working on and promised to bring us up to date on that project at the completion or some close to that time frame. So I'd like to turn it over to you and ask you to share with us the exciting project that we see behind us and in its finished state. So Gary, let us know how this project come about for those that wasn't with us on November 10th.
Okay, well, I'm part of a group from Kansas City called Artist Inc., INC, like Incorporated.
I see.
And their first class usually has to do with business and how to do your taxes and all those art-related things that are business-like. And then the advanced project, which I just finished, is a 1-year project for artists of all kinds. So that could be musicians, writers, filmmakers, painters in my case. And so I had set out to do a very large installation type piece.
Artist of the Year.
Hello folks, how you doing tonight? I'm Jeremy Cash, and so I'm gonna do my song. I always do it every show. Folsom Prison Blues. I hear a train a-comin', it's rolling round the bend. I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. Well, I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time is dragging on. I hear the whistle blowing, I hang my head and I cry.
I'd like to welcome you to the gallery this morning, and we'll share a few things while we're here. One of the things I wanted to share with you is my little pet project, my 2-headed dragon. About 30 years ago, I was faced with a pallet with leftover paint after about 4 or 5 working days, and I started throwing it in the wastebasket. I thought, no, I'll just fill up a coffee can down here. And about a year later, that coffee can was filled up, and then the next I got another coffee can and it filled it up. That took about 2 years. I'd like to take a minute to share a piece of work that I just completed. I've been painting now professionally for about 50 years. And in that 50-year period of time, I don't know that I've actually done a piece of work for myself. This one I did for myself. This is a piece of work dedicated to the history of law enforcement